Hey, I'm Jeff Pellizzaro from 18 Strong and the 18 Strong podcast, and this is our video series which we're calling Get Off the Golf Fitness Roller Coaster. I think we can all agree that we can make huge improvements in our golf game by simply working on our body and getting in better shape, but many people have differing opinions on what the best way to go about doing that is. And on top of that, it can be really tough to find the time and the motivation given our busy schedules these days to really fit in any kind of a program. So tell me if this sounds familiar at all. You've recently played a round of golf and maybe noticed at the end of the round you kind of lost a little bit of steam, or your back started to hurt, or you start to develop those aching and nagging pains that you've been having for a while. Or maybe worst of all, you just notice your buddies are all out driving you off of the tee box and it's starting to get to you a little bit. Well, if you're like most people, you decided, all right, it's time to make a change. It's time for me to get my body in better shape so I can play better golf. And so you probably did something like go on a cleanse diet to kind of clean up your eating. You started watching, what you're drinking, watching what you're putting in your body. You started getting into the gym and getting some workouts in, and maybe even got a couple practice range sessions in between your rounds of golf. But when you got back out to the golf course, you really noticed that there was not a big change. You were still having the pain, you weren't playing very well, and it seems like you've put in all of this work and all of this effort, and it just isn't doing what you wanted it to do. So now you realize, hey, I'm not getting the results, and it's starting to get a little bit frustrating, and you start thinking, man, maybe this is just a little bit too hard. Maybe I just don't have the time to dedicate that I need, and maybe this is just how it's going to be. I'm just going to have these aching pains, and I'm going to play okay golf for the rest of my life, and maybe I'll just go get that new driver, and I'll go get some lessons from the pro at the club. This is exactly what we call the golf fitness roller coaster. So you get motivated, you decide to make some changes, but when you don't get the results and you don't exactly know what to do, you kind of fall back on that motivation and then you end up giving up. And it's very, very frustrating. Well, I'm here to tell you that thankfully the problem is not you, and the problem isn't that you didn't have enough time to do what you needed to do. The problem started when you decided to make that change a long time ago. See, you simply didn't have the right information. You didn't have the right guidance that you needed to take you from point A to point B. What you most likely did was either one, rely on information that you've used in the past and you kind of got the same old results, or you relied on something new that maybe you read in a magazine, on a golf website, or in a fitness magazine, and you just kind of started taking random exercises and random tips to make up your plan. And unfortunately, I don't know of two industries more than the golf and fitness industry that flood the marketplace with more gimmicks and gadgets and tools and tips. I mean, it seems like every time you turn on a commercial or go to a website, they say that they can shave 20 strokes off your game or help you lose 10 pounds, or maybe fix your hook and your slice with the same golf club, which I don't know how they're going to do. But we all know that real results come from when you work on your body and you get your body moving consistently over a longer period of time. Look, we know that there aren't any quick fixes, and most likely you, just like I, have gotten ripped off in the past. And I don't know about you, but here at 18 Strong, we're sick of it, and I'm sure you are too. So in today's video and in this whole video series, we're going to show you a simple plan, a blueprint on how you can get your body moving better so you can play better golf. Look, I've interviewed over 100 of the top coaches in the world of golf, and all of them use a very similar system to get results with their clients. And it's the same system, the same formula that I've used with many of my clients. For instance, take Mike, who is a guy who had back pain for years and typically would throw his back out once a year and couldn't play a round of golf. Or he'd rely on pain medications and anti-inflammatories to get through just 1 or 2 rounds of golf. He recently went on a 10-day golf trip overseas and played multiple rounds a day without having a single issue. Or you've got Mitch, who's a good golfer, played golf in high school, and he was a high single-digit handicapper, but he's only hitting the ball about 240 yards, which may sound great to some of us, but it wasn't quite up to his caliber. And after using the same principles that we're going to teach you in this video series, he went to hitting the ball 290 yards plus off the tee box, and has dropped from a high single-digit handicap down to a near scratch. And then not to mention all the countless other golfers that have used these same principles to simply lose weight or look better and feel better both on and off the course. So if you finally want to get rid of that pain and lose those extra pounds you've been talking about for years, or you simply just want to outdrive your buddies off the tee box, it's time to get off the golf fitness roller coaster. You've got to stop falling for all the gimmicks that we've all been fed, and you have to stick to a plan that's going to get you moving and feeling better. And so I'm going to show you the formula that I use and that all these other coaches use, but I'm going to warn you that it's not a sexy routine, it's not a shocking routine that all the marketers want to promote on the websites and in the magazines, but this is going to be a tried and true plan that you can use to get your body moving better. And we call that a daily motion routine. And the daily motion routine, it's very simple. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a routine of different movements that you're going to do on a daily basis to get your joints moving better, to get you feeling a lot more free when you're over the ball, and also to allow you to do the things in the gym and in your swing that you've been trying to do for years. While this may seem almost too simple to be effective, most people take too much time and put too much emphasis on the technique portion of the golf swing and what they're doing in their swing and how they can correct that without really putting the focus and emphasis on how to control their body or make their joints move the way that their joints should move. So I originally learned some of these techniques from Dr. Andreas Pina from Functional Anatomy Seminars, and he works with athletes at the highest caliber all over the world. He works with baseball players, mixed martial artists, football players, hockey players, and all of them have noticed a dramatic improvement simply by implementing some of these daily motion routines and improving the way that their joints work. So what we're going to do, and what he calls it, is controlled articular rotations, which is just kind of a fancy way of saying we're going to get your joints moving better every single day, and we're going to try to get a little bit more range of motion in all of these joints so your golf swing is going to be a lot more free and a lot easier on your body. So we're just going to walk through 5 basic movements for a daily motion routine that you can start doing today. And we're going to focus on what I call the big 3, and that's going to be the neck, the shoulders, and your hips. I find that those are the 3 areas that typically limit the golfers the most. So we're going to walk through this little routine, and then after we go through that, I'm going to tell you why it's so important and you need to do this on a regular basis. So let's walk through the daily motion routine. And as I mentioned, we're going to focus on 3 big areas: the neck, the shoulders, and the hips. So let's start with the neck. And it's going to be very simple. Like I mentioned, you're just going to stand nice and still. I want tension all throughout your body. And we're just going to move the neck. So all you're going to do is do a big circle, as large as you can, nice and slow. It should take about maybe 10 seconds to go in one direction. And I want you to do 3 to 5 repetitions in each direction. So as you're rotating, you're trying to make the circle bigger every time. I want you to keep your mouth closed, because as you go up, your mouth's going to want to open. So keep your mouth closed. Moving all the way around, you're going to hear some crunching and crackling, but basically we're trying to get the motion as big as we can. If you get any pain, I want you to basically work around the pain. Don't push through it. So if you get a pain on kind of the pinching side, I want you to just kind of work around it or just back off of it. So that's the first one. That's the neck. The second one that we're going to work on is the shoulder. We're going to do 2 different exercises for the shoulder. This one's going to be just a big shoulder circle, and it's almost going to look like kind of a windmill. And all you're doing, again, I want you to kind of lock down your body so everything else is tense, and then we're just working on movement here at the joint. You're going to bring your arm straight up with your palm facing to your left side if it's your right hand. You're going to go all the way up as high as you can go, and then I want you to rotate that hand as far as possible. So now it's facing the outside. And then you're going to let it dive straight back behind you, and you're going to notice it rotating as it goes back. And it's going to end up kind of inverted here. From there, you're going to go backwards, keeping it straight behind you, trying to stay in as straight of a line as you can. And then it's going to rotate, and it's going to come all the way up and all the way back over. What you're trying to do here is not rotate your trunk with the arm. So as you go up, you're trying to keep it in a nice straight line. Again, pushing the range of motion as hard as you can, really focusing on those rotations and trying to improve your mobility. If you start to rotate here, that's cheating. So you got to go nice and smooth and really try to make that circle bigger every single time. Okay, then the third one is also for the shoulder, but it's a little bit more for the shoulder blade than it is the actual shoulder joint. So I'm going to turn to the side to show you that we're pretty much just going to do a big circle with the shoulder there, and you're going to feel your shoulder blade back here moving. But what I want you to focus on is basically looking at the shoulder here. It's going to go up, all the way back, all the way down, and all the way forward. Just a big, huge circle like that, as much as you can. What I want you to pay attention to is not letting your elbow bend, so not cheating by doing one of those, and not tipping your head towards your shoulder. You want to go up as high as you can, get as much motion as you can at that shoulder blade. The better the shoulder blade moves, the more motion you're going to have for your golf swing. And then you're going to reverse that and do the same thing. Again, just like all of these, you're going to do 3 to 5 repetitions in both directions on both sides. The fourth one in your daily motion routine is for the hips. The hips are so key for your golf swing, and most golfers struggle with internal and external rotation of the hips. So this is a great way to just get everything loosened up. You're going to start out by bringing one leg up. Everything else is staying nice and tall. Again, I want some tension throughout your body. And then you're going to take your knee out to the side. You're going to try to stay as tall as you can while you let that heel rotate upwards, almost like you're trying to get it up over a hurdle. And then you're going backwards, and you're going to come down by the other leg. And then you're going to reverse it by going straight back, and then coming up over that hurdle, trying to push as hard as you can to get as big of a range of motion as you can. Again, I'm going to go from the side here now. Lifting up, you're going to rotate the knee out, but don't let your hips turn. Don't let your trunk turn. So you're rotating out. You're going to try to bring that heel up, forcing that, really putting a lot of effort into it. This one's harder than it looks. You're going to come down to the side, and then you're going to reverse it. Going the other way, come up as high as you can, and try to go over that hurdle. So that's going to get those hips moving much better in all of those different rotations. Okay, and then the last one, you're going to get kind of in this funny seated position. I call this the 90-90 position. So you've got 90 degrees here, 90 degrees here, 90 degrees here. And you're going to try to sit here. If you can't sit in this position, that tells you that you already have some tightness in your hips. But you can put this hand down for support. The idea is eventually we want you to be able to sit up and face forward this way with both legs on the ground. If you can't do that, put your hand down at the side, even if you have to lay it back all the way here. Put it right next to you, and then all we're going to do is try to go to the other side. Keep the legs down, keep the heels on the ground, and you're going to rotate to the other side. You're going to get in that position. And again, use your hand if you need to support yourself. Eventually, we want you to be able to sit up nice and tall and rotate both directions without holding on, if possible. But you're always just trying to get a little bit better and get a little bit more smoothness in your motion there. Okay, so now you've got your daily motion routine. You've got the 5 different movements that you should be doing on a daily basis. But why are these so important? It seems pretty simple. It almost seems too simple to be effective. But here's the thing. Most of us are in poor postures all day long. We're either sitting at a desk, we're in a car, maybe we're traveling. No matter what we're doing, we all tend to get in kind of this rounded shoulder posture. And what that does is that limits how our joints work, and our joints aren't moving the way that they used to when we were little kids. So if our joints aren't moving properly, first of all, they can't handle the stress that we're going to put on them during the golf swing, and they're just not going to allow us to do the things that we want to do in the golf swing because we're going to be limited. So the first thing that this daily motion routine does is it increases your range of motion, and especially for us in the neck, the shoulders, and the hips. That's going to create some more freedom for your golf swing. The other thing that it does that's super important is it simply allows your joints to be able to handle more stress. See, our bodies get injured when we have stress that comes in that we just can't handle. So if we're able to teach our bodies how to handle more stress on a daily basis, then our bodies are going to be less likely to get injured. And so golfers get hurt all the time, and that's the last thing that we want for anybody here in our 18 Strong community. And then finally, it's going to give you more control over your body so you actually know what your body's doing and how to get in certain positions. So it's going to give you more control, which ultimately means more consistency. So now that you've got this routine, how do you use it? I want you to do this every single day. I don't care if you do it in the morning or in the afternoon or in the evening, but I want you to get this in at least once. And then also, if you don't have any kind of a warm-up routine that you do when you go to the golf course, before you go to the driving range or go to hit some putts, I want you to start doing this before your round of golf. You're going to be amazed at how much more loose and ready to go your body is when you hit the first tee, so you won't have to wait those 2 or 3 holes to actually finally feel like you've got your swing. Look, the bottom line is that everything is about movement, and the better you move, the better golf you're going to play. All right, so you're probably asking yourself, why are we giving you all this information? Why did we make this whole video series? Well, we're tired of seeing golfers like you struggle. We're tired of seeing golfers get hurt, and we're tired of seeing golfers give up because they're not getting the results that they want to get. So if you know me at all from the podcast or the website, you know that I pride myself in our mission of helping golfers get stronger and get better without making it overcomplicated. I think that too many golfers out there waste their time and waste their money on bad information, and they just don't have a plan of attack to get them to where they need to go. So I don't buy into the fact that you have to play mediocre golf or you have to have these aches and pains just because maybe you're getting older or you've got a busy schedule. I think that's a load of BS, and I hope that you, after this video series, will think the same. All right, so that's video number 1 in our series, Get Off the Golf Fitness Roller Coaster. In the next video, I'm going to show you the crucial pieces that you need to include in your strength training program so you're not wasting time and not getting results anymore. But before you watch tomorrow's video, there's one thing that I do need you to know. It's that doing random exercises that look like a golf swing are not going to make you a better golfer, and they're not going to get you closer to your fitness goals. So I'll go into more detail on that in tomorrow's video. For now, I want you to leave a comment or question about today's video, and I want you to start your daily motion routine.